This week it is Pancake Week and I thought I would share with you all my very favourite story by Jan Fernley, and it is called Mr. Wolfs Pancakes. One day, Mr. Wolf was feeling hungry. He fancied some pancakes. Yum, yum, he said, licking his lips at the thought of a big pile of fresh, delicious pancakes. Mr. Wolf had never made any pancakes before. So he took his big recipe book down off the shelf and looked inside. But wolves can't read very well, and Mr. Wolf had trouble making sense of it, so he went to get some help from his neighbours. He called on Chicken Licken, who lived nearby. "Please, can you help me read this?" he said. "No," said Chicken Licken, slamming the door in Mr. Wolf's face. Bang! Poor Mr. Wolf. "Oh dear," sighed Mr. Wolf. He sat down, slowly read the book and worked out what he needed, all by himself. There he is, thinking very carefully about all those things that he needs. Mr. Wolf looked in his cupboard for the ingredients, but he couldn't find anything that he needed. "I'll go to the shop," he decided, and he settled down to write a list. But wolves, they're not very good at writing, so Mr. Wolf called on Wee Willie Winkie. "You're very clever," said Mr. Wolf. "Can you help me write my shopping list, please?" "No," said Wee Willie Winkie. "Go away." He slammed his door. Bang! "Well, there's no need to be like that," said Mr. Wolf. Poor Mr. Wolf, I wonder how you think he feels. Mr. Wolf sat down and tried very hard with his writing until he had made a shopping list, all by himself. Now he needed to count his money to make sure that he had enough. But wolves aren't very good at counting, so he went to the gingerbread man for some help. "Can you help me count my money, please?" he asked politely. "No, I'm too busy to bother with you," said the gingerbread man, slamming his door. Bang! Oh, poor Mr. Wolf. Why do you think all of the people who live beside him are doing that to him? Poor Mr. Wolf had to sit down and count his money. It took him a long time and he had to check it 3 times before it was right. But he did it, all by himself. Mr. Wolf needed a basket to carry his shopping, so he called on Little Red Riding Hood. "Please, may I borrow your basket?" he asked very nicely. "I'm not lending my basket to you," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Now, clear off!" So Mr. Wolf set off to the shop without a basket. "I'll manage," he said. Poor Mr. Wolf. So Mr. Wolf went to the shop. He's visiting old Mother Hubbard's general shop. He looked at his list, remembered what he needed, counted out his money, and he carried the eggs, the milk and the flour home, all by himself. Now, it was time to make the pancakes, but the wolves aren't very good at cooking, so Mr. Wolf called on the 3 little pigs. "Please, can you help me cook my pancakes? I'll share them with you," he said kindly. "No chance," chorused the pigs, slamming their doors. Bang! Bang! Mr. Wolf felt sad. Nobody wanted to help him. Oh dear. Why do you think the three little pigs didn't want to help Mr. Wolf? Mr. Wolf went home and started to make the pancakes all by himself. Soon there was a huge pile of delicious pancakes on the table, all ready for eating. He's done a really good job there. He said that he couldn't read his recipes, and look what he's managed to do. Now, as Mr. Wolf had been making his pancakes, a lovely smell had drifted out of the kitchen. All of his neighbours could smell it, and it made them feel very hungry. They wanted some pancakes too. They decided to try their luck. They knocked on Mr. Wolf's door. "Give us some of your pancakes," said the rotten lot. "Why should I give any to you?" said Mr. Wolf. "Not one of you would help me." "We'll help you eat them," replied Mr. Wolf's neighbours nastily. "Anyway, we're not going away until you give us some." Mr. Wolf thought very hard for a moment. There was only one decent thing to do. "Oh, very well then," he sighed. "You'd better come in." What do you think Mr. Wolf's decided to do? If you were Mr. Wolf, do you think that you would let them eat the pancakes even though they wouldn't help you? Let's find out. Mr. Wolf opened the door wide and whoosh! His greedy neighbours rudely pushed past him and dashed down the hall. Mr. Wolf shook his head, shrugged his shoulders and followed them into the kitchen. Oh dear, that was very rude of them, wasn't it? When they were all inside, Mr. Wolf gobbled them all up. Snippety, snippety, snip. That was the end of the unhelpful neighbours. And then, with his bulging tummy not quite full, Mr. Wolf sat down to eat his pile of pancakes. And he did it all by himself. Well, there was nobody else around to help him. My goodness me, what do you think you would have done? Do you think Mr. Wolf was right to eat all of the characters even though they didn't help him? Why do you think none of the characters in the story wanted to help him? I hope you enjoyed the story. It's my very, very favourite. And I hope that everybody manages to get some pancakes this week.